5 seconds remaining.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the SLTV Pro Series 11. We're in the winners bracket still, where DUZA Gaming are going to be going up against House of Gamers. At least, you know, what's left of their lineups is we have a lot of stand-ins here today. It seems like this whole tournament has been just stand-ins galore, but hopefully it's a good one anyway. Both these two teams, I would say, fairly evenly matched, but we'll see who comes out on top. I'm Mikelorus here on HOG 1. Got MRP here as well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'm looking to see what kind of game DUZA can put together. I haven't really seen them put together a good stretch of games, but that's certainly by virtue of them not really having a stable roster. They have shown flashes of good play, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare against at least 3 real members of House of Gamers.
Yeah, they have not been on the greatest of streaks, DUZA. So, going up against House of Gamers, normally I would say DUZA probably not favored to win, even if they were all, you know, full 5-on-5, had everyone together.
Right.
So they do have an uphill battle to climb, but, you know, they have Captain Love standing in. I'm pretty sure Captain Love was on DUZA at one point in time. Not too sure about that. Bignum is on album sheet. I don't know why he's here now, but I'm not going to complain, because Bignum is a good player, and it would be very nice for DUZA.
Yeah, Bignum definitely one of the better players, at least from the ones I recognize among these 10. So Excalibur not playing, unfortunately, today for House of Gamers, but they do have a moment, and Malum for the offlane, Slashstrike playing as well. So they look pretty good in terms of their roster. Yeah, Captain Love has been playing with DUZA quite a bit and used to be a member at one point, but he has been playing for them, so that'll be one of the more stable members. He's got some decent synergy with Lalico and Limbo, so they will open up the draft, however, with a Centaur, so something that's fallen a little bit out of favor in recent times, just with the uprising of so many different heroes like the Juggernaut and the Venge coming out in the first pick phase. So interesting to see him picked up this early.
And he's going to be partnered up with a Witch Doctor. Having one stun into another stun is rarely ever going to fail you, and that's a pretty nice combination, especially if you're going against the likes of a soft hero like Skywrath Mage. It is a hero that you could definitely play around, shut him down very early on. If you have one too many range heroes, then Centaur's laning phase is not going to go that well. But opening up with a Witch Doctor Centaur, though they're not exactly the most commonly picked up heroes, like a Brewmaster Venge would be like a lot more solid, I would say, you know, if they weren't banned out. It's still a very nice way to open, as they have a lot of flexibility moving down the line. Stampede for safety, or they could just go in for a whole lot of team fight, stampede someone in, get the Witch Doctor in position with the Death Ward. They have options moving forward, and House of Gamers have Skywrath Mage to kind of tamper with that, as Ancient Seal is a decent tool at countering that team-wide initiation, but right now, House of Gamers obviously only have one hero. It's going to be a Bat Rider, so it looks like they are not going to put up with that at all. They want to be the ones initiating almost 100% of the time, and if they do, then generally the team with the Bat Rider is going to come out ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Centaur not the most ideal target for a lasso, but either way, with the Ancient Seal and the lasso, they have 2 very reliable ways to deal with this Death Ward from the Witch Doctor already. I feel like Centaur was somewhat of a pick deny, in the sense that they were denying the roaming combo of the Centaur Skywrath, which is pretty darn good once you get that Blink Dagger up for your Centaur. The double edge amplified by the Magic Seal does a hell of a lot of nuke damage, and also you can couple that with the Mystic Flare after the Hoof Stomp. So not a bad pickup from DUZA. Still don't know if it's first pick phase worthy. Maybe this is something they've seen HOG run a lot in the Centaur Skywrath. Either way, they're going to proceed for HOG to ban out the Night Stalker. Interesting ban there. Also, they'll ban out the Slark. Very strong mid-game oriented carry who scales fairly well as well with the Essence Shift.
So it looks like House of Gamers are a little bit more afraid of the early game aggression power from DUZA, whereas DUZA a little bit more scared about the late game of House of Gamers, which is understandable considering the heroes they currently have for themselves. You mentioned the power of Centaur Skywrath Mage. Bat Rider Skywrath Mage gets the job done also. Like, if you lasso someone, you're going to be landing a Mystic Flare unless DUZA pick up, like, you know, an OD or a Shadow Demon or an Omni Knight or something like that. I mean, there are ways you can deal with it, but Bat Rider Skywrath Mage, that is going to be most of the time 100 to 0, especially if you have a third hero there. Witch Doctor is dead meat, obviously. Wraith King Centaur might be able to survive that, but even Centaur or Wraith King without Reincarnation, Mystic Flare, when you land the entirety of it when it's amplified by a seal, that hurts like hell. So
yeah,
and House of Gamers certainly do have a lot of burst power right now, but DUZA, they are on their way to, you know, a rather durable lineup. Wraith King Centaur already up. Maybe House of Gamers is going to start looking more and more towards the Timbersaw as DUZA pick up more strength heroes.
Yeah, durability certainly a very significant point to touch on. The Centaur, as I mentioned, not the most ideal lasso target, and even less so is the Wraith King. You can basically toss his first life away, especially if he's coming out of that support role, which is certainly a possibility at this point. Witch Doctor does have pretty good range, pretty good base attack animation, and base attack damage, so it doesn't weaken their lanes too much to have this melee 4 or 5 position Wraith King here. And I don't mind the pickup into the Batrider. House of Gamers definitely were anticipating a Batrider pick with that first ban on the Vengeful Spirit, who does pretty much counter up the Batrider perfectly every time. And they will pick up the Earthshaker here, so definitely a good roaming duo with the ES Skywrath Mage. They do have some long form of initiation with the Fisher that can help the Batrider jump in if he's not the first to do so. So, well, it's an interesting pickup from them. Earthshaker, pretty stable pick. This does leave their draft a little bit narrowed in terms of what they can go for from here on out. They're going to need 2 cores, certainly, unless they put this Earthshaker in a core role, which is probably not as common. Not sure that I've seen House of Gamers do it. I've seen a couple tier 2 teams do it, but mostly BBC, if I had to recall correctly.
It seems like most of the time when they do it because they can, not because it's fantastic. Like, the worst thing you could see is Earthshaker being played in, what, like a solo mid position, and then he doesn't get any farm, and then it's pretty much just like a support Earthshaker who cleared out a big stack or something like that. It's less than overwhelming. So House of Gamers, it looks like they're positioning themselves to go for a little bit more of a late game pickup. Necrophos, the pick for DUZA. Again, they're more on the early aggression train, not as much so. I mean, we've definitely seen more aggressive lineups, but for House of Gamers, up against the Necrophos now, I kind of like the Anti-Mage here. And DUZA have a lot of ways of crowd controlling him, but man, if you burn out Wraith King's mana, then he's completely screwed. If you get a lot of magic resistance value against the DUZA side, regardless of what House of Gamers want, I think it should be a more late game oriented strategy for them, and they don't have much time. It's going to be an AA, so looks like you were right. House of Gamers, Earthshaker, core Earthshaker. Not too sure how much I like that versus what DUZA Gaming have.
Yeah, it's not like they have a lot of units to deal with for the Echo Slam to be buffed up, but the AA is nice in that it does mitigate a lot of healing. I was expecting an aggro try with the Wraith King Witch Doctor Necro when the Necro came out, just because of the Voodoo Restoration as well, the Death Pulse, excuse me. They have so much lane stay ability with those couple of abilities, but the Ice Blast will be able to mitigate some of that healing, but still, for the first 5 levels of the game, they will have a really good time if they opt for that aggro try. Also, that'll give their Centaur some space to farm in the safe lane, get up an early blink. That'll be able to cue the aggression for them. I do worry for their ability for HOG to burst down these targets that come back from the lasso. Really, right now, the Witch Doctor is the only one they're super capable of doing. They do have the Mystic Flare with the Ancient Seal, as you mentioned. The Ice Blast is pretty nice too, but a lot of sustainability here. Of course, the Wraith King with the extra life, the Centaur innately tanky, and as is the Necrophos, especially for a hero of his nature. So it will be interesting to see if they are able to take advantage of these lassoed targets here, but they are going to need some damage. I would have loved the Anti-Mage pick, as you mentioned here. Still open for them, but the ban from DUZA is impending, so perhaps they notify that, and they do definitely identify that possibility and remove him from the pool. So a little bit of a misstep in terms of drafting from HOG, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think probably taking the Anti-Mage, holding the Ancient Apparition is a little bit more of a questionable pick. I mean, it's certainly good against what DUZA Gaming have. You shut down the Necrophos, you shut down the Wraith King, Witch Doctor, not completely, but you slow them down, let's say. And then you have the awkward situation of Ancient Apparition, Shaker, Skywrath Mage, all quote-unquote support heroes, and you don't really know if the enemy team wants to commit in such a way. But House of Gamers, they have a lot of burst damage for one target. You lasso in someone. If it's Necrophos, Witch Doctor, they'll probably be able to get that kill, or Centaur get the kill and be on their way. But the thing where House of Gamers truly fall off is the fact that they don't have much sustained damage, and DUZA, their right click damage isn't the highest. I'm assuming at this point Wraith King is being played as support. Necrophos is able to put out consistent damage. Centaur can put out consistent damage. House of Gamers, they're pretty much going to rely on the fact so far that they are going to be able to take a 4v5 fight once Batrider gets his initiation. Then I don't really know what the plan is for House of Gamers. Like, yeah, we killed Necrophos. Now what? We can't kill off anyone else because our heroes don't do any damage.
Yeah, they pretty much blow their load and then back off. Also, they don't really have the best lineup for taking down structures here, so they will be able to find pickoffs here and there, definitely with the lasso, with the Mystic Flare, even the Ice Blast to an extent, but what will they be able to translate that into? I do worry for them. I mean, there's not too much push on the side of DUZA either, but I feel like they do have a little bit more right-click. They may supplement that issue with a Quas Exort Invoker here. Quas Wax isn't bad with the Tornado to deal with the Bat Rider here, but they will have the Cold Snap. They do have the Reaper's Scythe as well for a reliable stun. They have the Wraith Fire Blast, the Cask, and the Centaur Stampede as well to reinitiate off of that lasso. So I really feel like it will be a Quas Exort Invoker. That does solve the push issue a bit. It gives them a little bit of global presence as well to help out with the aggro try and even for solo kills that the Centaur goes for with the Stampede. So I do like that pickup from DUZA to round out their lineup.
It's a hero that at the very least will give them a lot of damage, and it is also, as you said, I do like the Exort Invoker a little bit more here, assuming House of Gamers only had 4 heroes, but their 5th pick is going to be the Spectre. The flexibility of the Invoker to go into the Quas Wex means that they effectively also ban out the Medusa of House of Gamers, and they were clearly looking for a very late game oriented draft, as those 4 heroes, as I said, not doing much damage. They need someone to lay the hurt in late game, and that hero is going to be the Spectre. It is a hero that is certainly possible for DUZA Gaming to play around, assuming the Blink Dagger and Bat Rider is more on the slow side. That's really going to be the most important thing for the House of Gamer side. Get the fast Blink Dagger on the Bat, and then start up with the aggression early. If they do that, that's just going to buy more and more space for the Spectre, and then their late game chances start to increase. But even if it does get to a late game scenario, you're up against a Necrophos. That's never really where you want to be.
And he's helped out by an Invoker, and also they have the Wraith King in a support role who can transition to a semi-carry, so it's definitely worrisome in the late game phase for HOG.
Well, either way, we'll see if HOG can stall out this game. It's up to DUZA to play aggressively. It's up to House of Gamers to play defensively, of course. We got Malum playing the Spectre, currently heading down towards the bottom lane. We'll spot out a couple heroes down towards bot, but should be perfectly fine. We got a moment playing the Skywrath Mage heading down towards the bottom lane as well. CY on the Ancient Apparition. Core Shaker being played by Slash Strike. Actually, DUZA, they want blood here. Limbo has a range for Wraith Fire Blast, but Malum is playing the perfect bait right now, and DUZA, they know that there's an Ancient Apparition on the other end. They're not going to push it. A very smart move from DUZA, and Malum, unfortunately, just not looking quite tasty enough, although he's going to run to Limbo one more time. This time Limbo knows exactly what's going on. It looks like nothing should happen. If DUZA decide to initiate on the Spectre, they will get cleaned up, so they should just be backing off. Last hero is the Bat Rider up towards top, who's going to be played by Wing Zero, but no, Sonic gets a little bit too close. There goes the Chilling Touch. Fissure going to connect onto 3. Sonic can take quite a bit of damage. Stun to Malum as they try to disengage. Looks like House of Gamers just fall short of their crowd control suite. At the Fissure block, that could have been an easy first blood, but oh no, Malum, don't go up there. That's not where you want to be. They're going to have to waste a couple tangos to get their way out of there. Not the best for House of Gamers, but they also burn out a salve of the Necrophos, so not too terrible, I guess.
Yeah, decent trade. We'll round up the lineup with DUZA here. Captain Love picking up the Witch Doctor, Sonic on the Necrophos, Limbo, as you mentioned, playing that Wraith King in the mid lane, Lolico on the Invoker, and the Album Sheet player, Bignum, is going to take up the safe lane solo role with the center. Wraith Fire Blast goes out onto a moment bottom. Cask is going to bounce fairly nicely as well. A few more right clicks. That'll be the first blood going the way of DUZA. Malum going to have to turn tail and run, but his dagger's expired. He's hit with a Wraith Fire Blast as well. He's trying to tango through. He'll take a few more right clicks. He should fall here as well. And a 2-for-0 in the bot lane. Aggressive try, already fairly successful for DUZA here.
Concussive shot, aiming for Captain Love, is going to misfire on Sonic. Cask going to throw out, bouncing between a moment and CY, which will completely shut down their aggression. Unfortunately, the Necrophos not with enough mana, and Limbo also not with enough mana to continue the fight on this bottom lane, but it's pretty much just a sign of things to come. As I said, DUZA, they're going to want to play this aggressively as possible, and House of Gamers, they just need a little bit more time, and by a little bit more time, they need like 40 minutes in this game if they actually want to stand a reasonable chance at it. DUZA, if they start off this quickly, then it is not looking good for House of Gamers already. The Spectre is going to be under a lot of pressure. She will be able to get a couple of last hits in here and there, but we just saw how easy it is for DUZA to get kills. Of course, they did go for the easiest target in the Skywrath Mage. Diving a Spectre right now, if they had all 3 heroes here, is certainly on the table, and she has to be very careful about that. Even a moment, like, he's gonna play backup for Spectre, but he can't really play backup too well, as they're going to start the dive right away. Here comes Sunstrike as well, which will be blocked by a whole bunch of creeps. Sonic taking way too much damage from the Chilling Touch will go down. Now Captain Love in tower range as well. He's gonna get slowed down a little bit. He would chop down Okay, okay, going for that dive was not the right timing because the creep wave was coming in. So if they waited just like 20 more seconds, they could have gotten it done. But they mistimed it, and DUZA, well, the score now is 2-2 on the bottom lane.
Yeah, big overzealousness there from DUZA. You saw the potency of the Chilling Touch plus the early level in Desolate for Malum. He was able to chop down Captain Love as he was retreating out. But yeah, a little bit too much hubris there after the first few kills from DUZA, and they will even things up in this tri lane. The early point in Heartstopper, very nice though, pretty much denying up the regen from Malum for Sonic. So she will have a little bit of a tough time staying in lane here. Either way, unfortunately, Captain Love was not able to eclipse level 2 before dying. He just did now and picked up that point in Voodoo Restoration, so they will be able to get a little more aggressive as mid lane Sunstrike goes into Slash Strike, but one enchant Totem Strike, he'll bring down the Invoker. Solo kill for the Earthshaker, very nice start for him.
Following that the entire time, Invoker turned around for Cold Snap Sunstrike. Unfortunately, Cold Snap didn't quite stun for long enough, and Earthshaker was able to dodge that, but Limbo is actually diving the Skywrath Mage by himself, gets the kill, but will pay the price for it unless Captain Love's Cask does the job. And it looks like it will bail him out for a little while longer, although Limbo turning around to fight is probably going to go down. No, they're actually going towards Malum, who's burning down to the Heartstopper aura of all things. Unfortunately, Sonic is a little bit too slow walking through those vortexes, will not make it happen unless there's a Sunstrike. They... one time, Sunstrike, okay, he's going to be fine for now as they're going to instead go for a moment. Sunstrike, there it is! Spectre is going to get 360 no-scoped down on the bottom lane, and well, DUZA, that was the most awkward dive you can make with the support Wraith King diving behind a tier 1 tower, but you know what? It got them 2 kills, so they're going to be happy with that.
Yeah, top lane, Hoofstomp does barely whiff onto Wing Zero. May have had some kill potential for Bignum there. He's picked up his Tranquils now, so has a lot of sustainability in this lane. Should be just fine. Slash Strike going to aggress forward onto Lilico, but we'll just zone him out for the time being. Things going to stagnate for the moment. Pretty aggressive early game. 4-3 is your score, 4 minutes in.
And the Batrider farm status only 11-2 versus Bignum's 13-4. Not that much CSing going up on this top lane, which is actually kind of weird. You would expect both these two heroes to be getting enough gold to be perfectly functional in this top lane, but this is actually going perfectly fine for DUZA. They have no rush to get the Centaur's Blink Dagger because all he wants is level 6 right now. Batrider needs his Blink for House of Gamers, and with only 14 CS, that Blink is not going to be happening for a very long time. And well, bottom lane, Malum, he's 7-2. He is not getting that much gold at all, and even though DUZA, they're playing this bottom lane kind of fast and loose, they're still getting the job done. In fact, the last hits, this is probably like the fewest last hits I've ever seen. Like, these people are not interested in getting creep kills, and Malum might actually be dove right now, and yes, Malum is now in a whole heap of trouble. Sunstrike to combo up, that is not going to kill him, but it's going to be Limbo to do it. But such an easy dive onto the Spectre might be reciprocated over towards mid, where Lolik is in a little bit of trouble. He's going to run to CY in a moment. No, he's going to walk right past them. Okay, never mind. He's not going to walk right past them. He's going to get silenced up, and with that Chilling Touch, it looks like Lolik is going to take a fall. He is maybe blocked off. No, he doesn't have a Ghost Walk to invoke, and he's going to take a fall. 1-for-1 trade over the course of the map, and it looks like that should just about be it, but I would rather lose an Invoker than lose a Spectre, especially when House of Gamers have so much riding on that hard carry.
Yeah, and also their supports having to commit over towards that mid lane. CY still not picked up this level 3 on the Ancient Apparition, so he's a little bit gimp at this point. With 3-0 and 2 KDA on Limbo, he's already level 4 on this Wraith King and is going to amass up that level 6 at a very reasonable time. He'll be able to throw his life away under this tower for some more Spectre kills, and that'll probably cue the aggression from DUZA. Elsewhere on the map, Lilico is being zoned out quite well mid. There may be a Fissure sometime soon. No mana actually on Slash Strike, and I'm sure he's weary of that, so able to stay in lane for the moment.
That was an Echo Slam being used, so I could only assume that the Invoker got a little bit too close to the Shaker. Maybe there was a rune involved, but probably not, seeing as the runes just spawned. Either way, Invoker is playing it like the rest of the DUZA squad, a little bit fast and loose over towards mid, and Slash Strike doing an impeccable job at making sure this Invoker is having the worst possible time that he could have, but it's over towards bottom lane where Sonic is going to have an even worse time perhaps, because Chilling Touch does go out. He's going to try to turn and fight versus Malum. That's not going to happen. He's going to put a little bit of damage into the Spectre, but that's about it. CY going to hit with the cast. Captain Love has no follow-up for this one. Sunstrike status is probably up. It's not invoked just yet, but it won't kill anyone either way. It's over towards top lane where Bignum's actually looking for a wraparound to Wing Zero. He'll miss the Hoof Stomp. Stampede also used previously. Looks like he will be A-okay. Wing Zero has Lasso, but that won't get the kill on the Centaur. So aggression attempts all around the map, 5-5, and really at this point in time, I think House of Gamers should be more or less okay with where they are standing right now, because they're, you know, trading evenly, and that's really what all you could want when you have a Spectre on your team.
Yeah, very interesting skill build opted for here by Limbo. He's got 2 points in stats rather than giving the Vampiric over to his teammates. Of course, they are 2 range heroes that don't hit very hard and rely more on their spells. But I would have seen at least, I'd like to see at least a value point for that 15% lifesteal for the lane. They already have so much stability. I feel like that would add quite a bit. But either way, tanking up so that when he does get that reincarnation, he will be not the most ideal target. Meanwhile, top lane, Sunstrike used to kill off the Batrider as well as the Stampede, going to get Bignum out of the fire there. Nice little kill for him. He'll pick up his experience toward level 8.
Just got a little bit too close to that Batrider, and he was punished because of it. At a certain point, House of Gamers will be able to punish escapes like that as Centaur. Well, first of all, Holik is in quite a bit of trouble over towards mid. Slash Strike's Fissure going to connect, but here comes Captain Love with the heal and the cast, which is going to hit exclusively heroes. Lollik even going to turn around and try to go for a moment. That's not going to work out. Sunstrike will fly onto CY, will miss. And Slash Strike is going to zone everyone else out, but this Earthshaker has to be so careful. If he gets hit with another invoked spell, pretty much no matter what, he will be going down, but at a certain point, House of Gamers, once Haunt is up, once the Ice Blast is up, they will be able to punish and help reinforce those kind of closer ganks. But as it stands right now, DUZA going to walk away with a clean kill up towards top lane. Centaur is now going to aim towards his Blink Dagger, as Batrider is going to as well. But they're probably not going to look to help out their respective teams anytime soon. It's going to be Malum trying to go for Limbo, but this might actually be a trap because Limbo's going to turn around for a stun onto the Skywrath Mage. There is no Scythe here for the Necrophos. Malum is going to do quite a bit of damage to Limbo, but when Sonic is right nearby him, he can't really do too much. Here comes a Chilling Touch from CY, but CY might be turning things around. No, Sonic is actually going to abandon the Wraith King. Is going to get Sunstruck. There's the kill. And also, this guy, the Invoker, yeah, that's 2 kills actually. Malum's going to get Scythe now with another Wraithfire Blast. That's going to be another. So here comes Slash Strike. But up against Sonic, who has that Sadist working away, he's going to try to go for Limbo. It's going to be close. He will not make it out. Sonic looks like he's out of gas right now, but he could still get Slash Strike if Slash Strike stays for a little bit too long. Whole bunch of kills for DUZA and House of Gamers. I mean, they thought that was a good time to go in, but they were sadly misinformed.
Yeah, so perhaps the dividends being paid there by those 2 points in stats. Limbo looking very tanky in that bottom lane and was able to survive up. Back Malum off, he had to extricate himself from the situation, leaving his 2 supports there. Slash Strike a little bit too late to the party. Really nice engagement. And that 1 point in Sadist doing work for Sonic, allowing him to stay in lane and get his mana pool back up here. Things looking really good for DUZA at this point. They already have a 3k net worth lead and a 2k experience lead 9.5 minutes in.
And this core Earthshaker, though he has been doing a decent job against the Invoker in lane, his contribution. Oh, wait, hold on top because Wing Zero is in a little bit of trouble. Bignum going to close in. The double edge won't kill him off, although we know we will burn in the fire. I didn't know if he was going to launch that one, but over towards bottom lane, Captain Love is going to get jumped, silenced up. He's going to put his restoration up, but I don't think he has anywhere to run. He is going to be brought down. Sonic should be fine. That's 2 kills going the way of House of Gamers in exchange for 1. Double edging when you're in the fire like that, even though you use stick charges straight after, not really the cleanest way to do that, but it is going to mean that he's slightly closer to his Blink Dagger, I suppose. Not the best trade for DUZA. They might be getting a little bit too comfortable with where they are at in the map. Again, they don't have to worry about the Haunt just yet, but, well, now they do, so DUZA, their positioning is going to have to be a little bit tighter if they actually want to get away with these plays.
Yeah, right before that engagement bottom lane, they were able to take down the tier 1. So this 20 CS 10 minutes in for Malum is probably only going to get even worse as they establish more map control. He's not farming extremely well. Sonic's picked up a point booster. One thing to note, though, for House of Gamers is that the Blink Dagger should come out just about now for Slash Strike in the mid lane. He's at 2250 at the moment, so perhaps he'll wait to pick that up as the Courier gets back to base, and maybe that'll sound some aggression from their lineup. He does pick it up now.
Alright, so that's what House of Gamers, or one of the pieces of the puzzle that they were waiting for. The Blink Dagger on Shaker, the Blink Dagger on Bat, and then they're good to go. They're going to try to go for Sonic first, and the Haunt in, Sonic is in quite a bit of trouble. Has no backup incoming. Wraith King's here, but he can't do anything. There's a Stampede, but it's a little bit too late to save Sonic. They're going to go up to the high ground, both Malum and Wing Zero, but they both have the ability to get out of there. At least Malum usually does until he gets blocked off. No more Dagger available. There's Reincarnation proc, slowing down a moment for Lollik to close the distance. Nice Echo Slam for Slash Strike, though. Going to connect onto all 3, and all those 3 here are going to die. Oh man, now that is a way to show off your Blink Dagger. It probably doesn't get much better than that. DUZA get completely wiped.
Yeah, it's probably the best reveal possible for Slash Strike, right on the timing as he picked it up, not anticipated by DUZA. They dive a little too deep, waste their reincarnation there on Limbo, and they pay dearly for it. 11 to 10, HOG taking their first lead of the game in terms of kills. Mid lane, Enchant Totem going to go out onto Sonic. He'll throw a Death Pulse back into the face of Slash Strike, and they'll both back off for the time being. Without the Echo Slam, Slash Strike doesn't quite have the kill potential.
Yeah, but he already gave his team quite a bit of a jump, and that jump is just going to mean that Wing Zero is that much closer to his Blink Dagger. Once he clears out these stacks, what, 4-ish stacks of creeps right there, he will have his Blink Dagger and then some. So then House of Gamers can actually provide a little bit more pressure onto the side of DUZA, give Malum a little bit more space, because as you can see, DUZA already, their objective, shut down Malum. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit harder than they really would think, because CY is here. Do they see CY? I don't think they do. Their smoke was blown, but I think it might have just timed out. So Malum, he doesn't quite know what's going on, but now he should know. So yeah, it's the objective of DUZA. Number one objective, shut down the Spectre. It's been working pretty well so far, but as House of Gamers pick up more and more Blink Daggers, it's going to be harder and harder for DUZA to get that action going. And top lane, Batrider, he's going to look to show off his Blink Dagger pretty soon, but it's going to be the Invoker in the most trouble, actually. He's going to get stampeded, turns around with the Magic Stick, Slash Strike, just falling short of the job, and Lolek is going to walk away.
Yep, Wing Zero smoked up, looking for a target top. He's going to find Sonic. There's the Ancient Seal, Mystic Flare, Concussive Shot going to go through as well. Flame Break will finish the job. And once again, the reveal of the Blink Dagger, very nicely played by HOG. Bignum has picked up his simultaneously with the bat, so perhaps he looks to find a return kill here. He'll blink forward into a moment. He will hit the Hoof Stomp and the Double Edge. One more right click. Bignum will find a solo kill on the Skywrath Mage. Nice little consolation prize for losing their one position Necrophos.
In the meantime, Invoker was hit with an Ice Blast and a Fissure. Unfortunately, for the Shaker, it's only level 1 Fissure, so Lolek was able to survive that, albeit barely. 12-11, and trades right now for House of Gamers are, once again, exactly what they want, since as long as Malum isn't involved with them, or not dying, then it should be them happily taking an advantage. Ice Blast, plus Batrider, plus Skywrath Mage, and DUZA, they have to watch out. Even if they have the perfect ward coverage, it won't really be enough to save them. Lolek going to dodge an Ice Blast for now, and that probably wouldn't have been his death, although blink forward for a Flame Break after an Ice Blast might have been enough to kill him. Would have been close.
Yeah, the Might is finally starting to do work for him. He's level 10, almost level 11. He will eclipse the top of the board once he hits that. But the Batrider doing very well in terms of net worth after farming up a couple of those stacks and picking up his Blink Dagger as well. Slash Strike sitting at second overall after that big engagement. So things looking good for HOG after a really rough start for them. Malum's also been able to recover and farm, as you mentioned. And really, DUZA not been too diligent with their farm. Too busy looking for kills. And even their free farm Necrophos, only 55 CS at this point to the 42 of Malum, who was shut down heavily early on.
And as I said before, the CS is going to be pretty important. When you're fighting this often, if you're evenly trading, then it's going to come down to the CS to determine who is actually going to take the edge overall in the game. And well, right now it's not too clear who has an advantage. Whoever does have an advantage doesn't have a huge one either. So it's not going to matter too huge moving forward, but over the long haul it is going to matter. Malum, speaking of, is in quite a bit of trouble. Blink forward, Hoof Stomp. They're going to layer the stuns a little bit, but you know what? They have so much damage, it doesn't even matter. Spectre is now a Crater, and that's going to be another clean kill for DUZA on the most important target. At this point, Spectre, like, she is going to go for the cost-effective build. Ring of Basilius, going towards a Vlad's, it looks like. I don't think this is going to be a Radiance game for her. She just simply can't get the money together.
Yeah, perhaps she puts together a Diffusal Blade, something you mentioned in the Anti-Mage being very potent versus DUZA's lineup in the Wraith King, and the Necrophos being two, as well as the Invoker even being three very mana-dependent heroes. So the Diffusal will be nice, but the Echo Slam goes out mid lane. Fissure is there as well. Cold Snap comes through. Sunstrike should whiff. And it does. Slash Strike gonna get hit with the Reaper's Scythe, however. He will go down. In the meantime, on the back lines, a moment drops to Limbo's Wraith King. One more Wraith Fire Blast is there as well. Death Ward gonna be dropped. There's the Hoof Stomp. They'll bring down the Batrider. 3-0 in the mid lane. Ice Blast is gonna hit Lolek and Sonic, but they will be able to survive, and they should be able to translate this into a tier 1 as well. Meanwhile, CY finding his Ice Blast and his level 7 in the top lane, but not committing much to that engagement.
And Force Staff and Invoker helping him out just a little bit at surviving that Echo Slam, and this is, I think, one of those games where you see a core shaker, well, you see it in the draft, and you're like, oh, that should be interesting, and then it doesn't really perform. Like, he has a fast Blink Dagger, but you have to remember that you're just an Earthshaker. You can try to go for these things. If there's like 2 creep waves there, you'll be able to clean them up, but outside of that, your damage is not going to be the most extraordinary thing in the world. So House of Gamers, first of all, initiating into a really bad spot, then getting things turned around. It might be even worse. Limbo is thinking about, no, there's no smoke to cancel, but they should know that Limbo's here, and he's actually running out of invis right now, so Limbo has to get the hell out. But he's not in too much trouble of dying. He's actually very close to a Blink Dagger of his own. That'll mean that DUZA can step the aggression a little bit more, but they're actually trying to bait everyone in. Batum's going to miss his Blink. Here comes the Haunt in. Sunstrike going to connect onto 1. Limbo's going to lose the Reincarnation. Wing Zero is going to fall in response. That's a 1-for-1 so far. Moment is going to be the next casualty, though. DUZA, you're going to charge forward, get 2 kills. And Spectre's here, who might be able to help. Fissure, who's going to kill off Witch Doctor with the help of that Ice Blast, but Slash Strike should be fine to get himself out. Outside of that, it's, I guess, something that House of Gamers take away from that. But right now, DUZA, they are pretty much putting the pedal to the metal. And maybe they're going to go for Roshan, maybe they're going to go for a bottom lane push. Either way, they have more or less complete control of this game.
Yeah, certainly. So the fashion by which they're keeping Malum down right now is just impeccable, and he won't be able to translate this into fighting shape anytime soon. He's only got the treads and the urn there. Was able to take down the Witch Doctor with the help of the Fissure to help him shatter there, but either way, not even sure if he was in XP range for that at the end of it, at least full XP range. Either way, he'll TP to the top and look for some farm here. There's not too much vision, but they should see him with the wave, and they do have a pretty mobile lineup for DUZA with the Stampede as well as the Sunstrike being able to be committed from range, so they may look to just punish him once again.
And speaking of Blink Daggers, we got 4 right now as Sonic picks up his. Don't really know, I mean, the Wraith King should be picking up 1 eventually for DUZA, unless he goes for Power Treads. That's good too, I suppose. Getting upgraded boots is pretty darn nice, but we have mobility everywhere, and it's going to be useful for both sides, but I mean, it's up to the map vision at a certain point, and right now, well, there is not that much vision from either side, or at least there's an observer that can be destroyed by DUZA, and they will do that. Outside of that, I mean, House of Gamers have a little bit of protection over their Ancients, but that's about it. It's going to be certainly a delicate game. Whoever gets initiation is probably going to take an edge, and the past couple of fights, DUZA have been getting better initiation, and it might be repeated up towards top, where the Blink Dagger on Necrophos is not going to be used to jump Malum, but it's actually going to be the other way around. Malum's going to turn around knowing that he has a lot of backup here. Wing Zero taken to the skies is not going to find anyone. Unfortunately for House of Gamers, they have to invest a whole bunch of heroes to protect Malum's farm, and that is not what you want to do ever.
Yeah, and Wraith King actually did opt for a Midas here, so he's eclipsed level 11 already. That'll give him the much lower cooldown in the 160-second cooldown on Reincarnation. He's going to look to find that 3rd level that fairly soon and translate probably into the Blink Dagger, as you mentioned as well, but he does opt to spend his gold on the Midas for now. I don't mind this pickup at all. He's already on board with Sonic at level 11 here. That's their 1 position. The highest level on House of Gamers is level 11, shared by the Spectre, ES, and the Bat Rider. So he will be able to finally surpass them in experience and translate into that semi-carry that we talked about earlier.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable way of going about this game. DUZA have been applying enough pressure to the Spectre to significantly decrease her impact on the game, and the late game of DUZA, though it's not exactly Spectre, it's still a Wraith King, and Necrophos, and Invoker, and if they get pick off Wing Zero, and they very quickly will, that's going to mean a little bit more of a slower late game for House of Gamers moving down the line. They're all going to get hit with the dagger. Limbo does not have a Reincarnation right now. Sunstrike going to connect onto Malum. He will barely escape out of that, as Gareth Mage does drop his ultimate, claiming 2 kills for House of Gamers in exchange for just 1. That's the type of fight that House of Gamers would like to take, but man, I don't know if that's going to be the most realistic of options, because even though they do get that fight, they're going to lose a top lane tier 1. So DUZA, 2 kills for a kill on a tower is not the best, but it's certainly better than nothing.
Yeah, they're still finding reasonable trades to maintain their lead here. The Invoker has a 3K almost 2,500 net worth lead over Slash Strike's Invoker, Slash Strike's Earthshaker, who is ahead of the Spectre at this point. And he does have the Midas to continue to widen that gap. He's also picked up 2 recipes towards his Necro. Just needs the Belt of Strength as well for Necro 2s already. So things looking very good for this Invoker, and a little bit worrisome for the Spectre thus far. Sonic's picked up the next component of his Aghanims and is 1,500 away from the full item.
Malum actually is holding the Ring of regen right now, and with 2,800 gold, it looks like Malum is going to go for the Radiance. I think most people would agree Spectre with Radiance is the build that you want to be going for, and unless things are just absolutely disastrous, then you should be trying to go for that, and it's going to be a very slow one. Like, around this time is when you would want your Radiance to be completed, not when you are still 1,000 gold away from it. So DUZA, they could still punish this Spectre if they want to turn up the gas right now, and so they have a whole bunch of heroes over in the mid lane, but they have to be really careful about positioning like this because the Earthshaker is just hop, skip, and jump away. Slash Strike has an opportunity right now for a huge Echo Slam. There it is, going to crush through Sonic with the Mystic Flare. That's the death of Necros. Can't get a single spell out. This Deafening Blast is going to cut through everyone, plus the Death Ward from Captain Love, going to collect 2 kills in response. Limbo's going to chase forward looking for CY as Lolic is going to chase forward for Wing Zero. Stampede is there. Limbo does have his reincarnation, will look to use it to slow everyone down. Looks like it will fail, but they do get the kill anyway. Wing Zero up on the high ground now, going to be chased down by Lolic. Short Meteor, probably not going to do any damage, but that's fine because Bignum has a Blink Dagger cooling down. Blink forward for a Hoof Stomp, double edge. Wing Zero is going to take a fall. Spectre is the only one to survive that. Now that's a trade that DUZA are more than happy to make. House of Gamers, they have a whole lot of damage one time, but then what? This is what we were talking about in the draft. They're going to fall short on the damage after taking one target down.
Yeah, very nice combination of spells there from Lolic after he picks up his Necro 2s. Nice Deafening Blast, Sunstrike, and the Death Ward to follow did a hell of a lot of work there. They bring down 2 early. Everyone from HOG having to turn tail and run. They are TPing in a moment top. Ice Blast going to fly out. It's going to land on Lolico with the Ancient Seal there to buff it up. The Haunt goes forward. The Fisher is there. They'll bring down the Invoker. Hoof Stomp onto 2, however. Mystic Flare is there. Limbo dropping really low. That's his reincarnation, but there's no help in tow, and it looks like he will drop here. Cold Snap will go out early, and he won't be able to bring down a moment. So a nice couple of return kills going the way of HOG there in the top lane. A very aggressive TP from a moment, but they're able to support it with the Ice Blast. Lolico had to turn and run, and he was brought down with a nice blink forward from Slash Strike.
And DUZA deciding to go all in on a push that they probably shouldn't have made in the first place. House of Gamers were all alive, first of all, and well, 3v5, I don't really like the odds of the 3 side. Pretty much no matter what happens, it's going to give Malum enough cash to pick up his Relic, and aside from that, no huge item pickups additionally. But still, DUZA losing 3 heroes in something that could have been easily avoided. This tower might also be denied. Looks like House of Gamers not privy to that fact just yet, although there is a ping. Maybe they're going to leave it up because they feel like it, but either way, that is not a push that DUZA should really be making. And now the crackback from House of Gamers, not going to be the hugest, but they are more or less prepared with the... oh, no, they actually have all their ultimates up minus Haunt, and they don't really need Haunt here because Spectre is here. Wing Zero is looking for the initiation that Bat Riders generally want to provide their team. It will not be force staffable, but the Forge Spirits should blow everything. Yeah, they're going to see the Firefly, and now they see Wing Zero. It's going to be hard for House of Gamers to get the initiation that they really want here.
Yeah, and unfortunately for them, we haven't really seen an impactful lasso yet. Concussive Shot will drop out onto Bignum. He's going to get Ancient Sealed up as well, but the Spectral Dagger just going to zone him for the time being. Limbo trying to find an initiation. Flame Break will back him off, and it looks like all the aggression will be staved for the time being. They will back off the entire lineup of HOG. But yeah, not seeing the effectiveness of the Bat Rider thus far. Really, Slash Strike has been the initiator for his team, and he's been doing a hell of a job with it. But either way, they've only really been able to find counter initiations as opposed to controlling the tempo themselves.
And generally, when you have a Bat Rider on your team, you want him to be the one initiating. A Bat Rider that is going to use his lasso not to reposition his enemies is a really bad hero, so you want to avoid that at all costs. Top lane, but they wish they denied it right now because Centaur's going to walk right in with the rest of his team, snag that one. Going to get a little bit more cash in their pockets. And DUZA, they are going to roam around as a 5-man squad. A push on the mid tier 2 is possible, although very dangerous given the fact that there is a whole lot of team fight on the side of HOG. They could go for Roshan, but then they run into the same problem. Maybe less so because there's no creep wave for Earthshaker to take advantage of, but DUZA, they're certainly looking like they want to make something happen. Right now until they, just fall back and disperse. I don't really know where they're going. Maybe just items and then Roshan.
Yeah, apparently that's the case. Invisibility picked up by Limbo. He won't run into Malum here, who is TPing towards that top lane. Is not too far off the Radiance, just needs another 350-ish gold to pick up that relic, or the recipe. Does have the relic in the inventory, but it looks like this will open the door for a Roshan attempt from DUZA. Will be scouted out. by the Ice Blast, but Lolika the only one in the pit, so he's going to take a little bit of chip damage from that, but they shouldn't be able to mount a defense here. Limbo also going to stand on the high ground with the invisibility rune ready, and Bignum has completed the full pipe for his team. That's a very nice pickup into the Skywrath AAES combo.
It is possible for them to take down the Centaur so that the pipe is not relevant, or at least dump the magic payload House of Gamers before the pipe actually goes up. Of course, you're probably going to get value out of the pipe no matter what, but it is certainly possible with the amount of burst that House of Gamers have. They could bypass the pipe completely regardless. The Roshan is going to be claimed by the DUZA side. Looks like it's going to be a double life for the Invoker and a handy-dandy regen rune in case he wants to use it. They could either go to the top lane and make a defense up there, which is probably more dangerous considering they have to teleport in one at a time, or they could go for a push of their own. Regardless, I think House of Gamers are going to claim at the very least one tier 1 tower, but this is the first tower of the game for them, and I mean, it's slow and steady, I suppose, but this might not be a game where slow and steady will win the race.
Yeah, 5th Blank Dagger of the game coming out for Limbo here. A little bit more initiation and tempo control now for DUZA, and they will reconvene in the Radiant jungle looking to take down this tier 2 bot lane. I don't think they should be able to mount too much of a defense here. Ice Blast will fly through from the top lane. Should be a fairly large radius. TP's also coming in behind the tree line. Fisher goes out. Ice Blast should hit on 3, and it does. Jump forward, Echo Slam. BKB pop from Slash Tag. He'll chop down Sonic quickly. Haunt in forward. There's the lasso as well, dragging one back, but Bignum, he's been caught out. Mystic Flare is there. He will be able to rotate backward. Malum will drop to the Death Ward. A moment gonna die in the tree lines as well. Limbo's reincarnation is down. He will be able to blink out from the trees, however, and he will blink back into the Voodoo Restoration. They will be able to bring down this tower, and a very nice spread engagement from DUZA. That looked terrible from them early on.
But that's just once again how the House of Gamers lineup is, well, right now the weakness of their lineup is that they will be able to go in and crush one target. This time it was the Necrophos. He tried to get something off. He tried to turn around and scythe someone for value, or, you know, because he was going to die anyway. He couldn't get anything out. The Earthshaker 100 to 0'd him, easy peasy. But outside of that, I mean, everyone else from DUZA, it was a very scattered fight. The Wraith King was on the front lines. Everyone else from DUZA was kind of playing a run and gun fight in the back end, but House of Gamers end up losing their Spectre, and that's exactly not what House of Gamers wanted. They don't even take down the Aegis of the Invoker. DUZA do take down the tier 2 tower in the end. It's Wraith King to take that tower destruction in that case. And DUZA, what have they actually used? A Stampede and a Reincarnation? They could keep fighting even without that, and will be a moment to feel the brunt of it. Bignum's going to blink forward blindly over the trees. Sunstrike is there, and it will kill off the Skywrath Mage. Here comes Malum. But this is a little bit too much bulk for the Spectre to handle by herself. She needs so much more farm if she wants to take these two heroes down. And, well, DUZA, if they just make the same exact play that they just did over in the mid lane, they should be able to take that tier 2 tower down as well.
Yep, and the Wraith King almost hit the level 16 here, so that ever so coveted 3rd level of Reincarnation as the lasso goes into top onto Sonic. The Ice Blast should hit, and it does. Cold Feet is there as well. Jump forward, Fissure, Enchant Totem Strike, and the Aftershock will finish off Sonic once again. He does have his Blink Aghanim's Tread, so not too worried about losing him, but very nice kill nonetheless for HOG. Yeah.
And this is usually not the build that we see coming out from Necrophos, where, you mean, you do go for Aghanim Scepter eventually, but as a first item, it's nice to give you that extra kick of health, but usually something like Yule Scepter a little bit more preferable, as it does offer you a little bit more flexibility as far as your survival options are concerned.
Yeah.
I don't really know if it would have helped him in many of those situations, but either way, this Aghanim Scepter doing nothing for him, clearly. It's going to be mid lane where we once again might see a little bit of initiation action going on towards Malum. Chain stunned up with the Sunstrike as well, then the beatdown from the two bulky strength heroes. They're going to fall short though, 50 HP. The Spectre gets to live. Pipe does go up. Limbo in a lot of trouble though. Needs 6 seconds to survive, but he won't get that because Slash Strike is going to jump in with a nice Echo Slam onto 2. Bignum is also going to take a fall, and it's going to be Lolik and Captain Love to try to make something happen on the sidelines. They have a lot of summons running around all over the place. Slash Strike has his BKB up, but it won't last for much longer. Captain Love is going to throw a cast, has a Death Ward opportunity right now, will channel at the moment, can't get the silence out. Slash Strike can't do anything right now. He will finally cancel it. No, he actually won't. It's still channeling. Captain Love and Lolik are going to destroy everyone from House of Gamers. They cannot go into that position, and it looks like everyone else is going to make a clean disengage, although Malum's actually stuck in the trees. He has his Radiance turned off, so it looks like DUZA don't know about this, but man, that positioning, that's the dream for Witch Doctor.
Yeah, very nice cold snap as well from Lolic to keep Slash Strike in position. He just looks so frustrated. The cast animations on every ability except Echo Slam for Earthshaker are absolutely abysmal, and he used that in the mid lane. Once again, Slash Strike with a very nice counter initiation, but DUZA still able to spread and find something off of it, and they even get a tier 2 last hit going the way of the Invoker. 3,100 gold on him. He'll finish off his travels as well.
It's a slow game for DUZA and House of Gamers both, but DUZA are slowly pulling ahead in this game. They still have the Aegis and the Invoker. I think at this point, it's probably not going to get that much value aside from a full mana restore. Not exactly how you want to use the Aegis, but Invoker, he just can't die. He's always just in the perfect position, and that's perfectly fine. You could use your Aegis, or you could just not use the Aegis if you're so inclined. But either way, DUZA, they're getting a couple more big items up. Really, the problem for them is the fact that Sonic is not really surviving these engagements, and he is the majority of the late game for DUZA. Invoker, Wraith King, they can pick up the slack a little bit, but they're just not getting that much farm. At least you don't have as much farm as you would want on the Nectar foes. They're going to assassinate bottom lane. Bignum, though, going to probably be the trade. He's rather tanky, has the pipe up, but he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Look at that pose, stuck with the axe up in the air. He's going to get swatted down by Slash Strike. That's a 1-for-1 trade that DUZA probably should not be making, as it's going to give Malum just a little bit more gas for his tank. But in DUZA, they just have to make sure to not get too over-aggressive with this. And going for a kill that deep into enemy territory, that is too over-aggressive. Yeah,
way behind enemy lines, and even for Skywrath Mage, his eyes widened a little too much there. It's not a really high-priority kill, and definitely feeding over the Centaur is certainly worth it for HOG, regardless of what cooldowns they use to garner that kill. But at least he looked good when he strike out. I don't look good when I strike out. That pose was pretty sexy.
All planned, man. Like, I will hold on to my auto attack until I know I'm going to get frozen, and that is going to be it. But
Roshan not up for a little while here, at least for 2 minutes at the lowest spawn. So nothing to take for DUZA while their Centaur is down, and they're gonna have to wait for him back up to start initiating once again.
They probably will. I mean, it's been a while since they've applied some serious pressure to Malum. They've killed him off in every single fight because he's just not that tanky at the moment, but DUZA, they have to be a little more careful, and actually they're going to get a courier pick off. Lolic is going to grab it, and what is on the courier?
It was a Mithril Hammer for the BKB for the Batrider.
Not yet. Pretty much a completed BKB.
Yeah. It was going towards the side shop. Not sure if it was going to pick up something for the Spectre, but it looks like he's building into the Manta, so perhaps not, with only 1,800 gold on him.
Alright, so it's a nice pickup regardless. A little bit of extra gold for DUZA, though. I don't really know if there's any huge items that they're working for aside from general durability. I mean, Witch Doctor already has his Aghanim Scepter up. If he grabs a BKB, then there's nothing that House of Gamers can really do about that. You don't want to hold your lasso for a Witch Doctor ultimate. That's just not how it works. Although, if it does work out that way, then you're going to be feeling pretty happy about it. DUZA, aside from just general durability, Wraith King maybe going to go for a little more damage. He does have the Maelstrom completed right now. Mjolnir, or something. No, I think just Mjolnir is probably the best. I mean, they already have the pipe. BKBs for Sonic is going to be really nice, but that's about it. I don't really see any other huge item pickups from DUZA that's going to instantly swing it right back into the game, with the exception of maybe Sheepstick. If Invoker picks that one up, and he is going to go for it, it looks like, that could certainly help at getting those pickoffs. And if you get one pickoff on a Spectre or something like that, then high ground push certainly becomes a viable option.
Yeah, and he's very close to it. It looks like Slash Strike may have been looking to pick up a Mystic Staff from the side shop. He's got a plate mail and 2,900 gold in the bank, 3,000 now. So maybe he opts for a Shiva's, perhaps even an AC for his team versus the physical damage from the Invoker, as well as the Wraith King. Blink forward, though. Wraith Fire Blast onto Malum. Stampede's going to be popped as well. Cold Snap should proc onto Limbo, and it does. Malum's going to be able to get out. Concussive Shot will proc the Reincarnation here. It's not going to slow anyone. Sonic's already popped his BKB as well, and HOG, wisely enough, will disengage after baiting out that BKB charge and the Reincarnation from the Wraith King, but it was a level 3 Reincarnation, so not too long of a cooldown for DUZA to worry about.
The only trade that House of Gamers have to make is the Spectre Haunt, just to get a beat as to whether or not they have to fully disengage or they could turn around and fight. They made the correct decision and they don't lose anything for it. In fact, they gain quite a bit of time because DUZA are going to be without those spells maybe by time. No, actually, it's going to line up pretty much perfectly. DUZA burned a whole bunch of things, but they will have most of it back up by the time Roshan comes back up online. Necrophos BKB being the exception. Maybe it's actually going to help DUZA more than it's going to hurt them, because House of Gamers, they really can't fight without the Spectre Haunt. And Roshan is going to be up before Haunt is up, so maybe that was... I mean, I'm pretty sure that wasn't the plan, but Either way, it's going to be pretty decent for them, especially if they get Wing Zero down in the bottom lane. Batrider, he does have a gem now, so a little bit tastier if you could pick him off, but I don't really think that's going to happen. It's actually going to be House of Gamers to get initiated on by Limbo, of all people. Jumps in for a stun to see why, but that won't result into anything.
Yeah, a little bit of fortunate timing here for DUZA as the Roshan will respond. They'll be able to scout it out with the illusion from Captain Love. Probably should ping it out promptly here after. They do have the Invoker Lolik up in the top lane, but he's got Boots of Travel, so he should be able to join the fray via this creep wave here, and they should be able to take that fairly soon. Without the Haunt from Spectre still down for 20 seconds, they need to take it soon. They try to go in on the Batrider, but he'll be able to blink away in a timely manner. And it looks like everyone going to disengage here. DUZA seems to have been going for a pickoff before they attempt the Roshan, but they won't find any fruit in their attempts. And Lolik still standing around mid lane, meandering around, probably going to rotate down towards the Rosh pit at this point.
DUZA's opportunity at taking Roshan was there because the Spectre Haunt wasn't. Now that the Spectre Haunt is up, it's going to be a lot more difficult for DUZA to actually claim this, especially just in the Roshan pit versus Earthshaker, Batrider, Spectre, and AA. That's not really where you want to be. Unless they could go in and assassinate Roshan before House of Gamers are really aware that this is going on, and so far they're doing a pretty decent job. House of Gamers, they're mobilizing and they're coming in as fast as possible. Look at the positioning from Bignum and Captain Love. I love it. It pretty much doesn't get much better unless the Batrider spots them out, and he will do that immediately. He wants to go for someone. Captain Love's going to start channeling the Death Ward from the high ground, bouncing the wrong direction, however. There's the nice EMP Meteor. It's going to go through Slash Strike. He has the BKB up, just one more hit, and he will be picked off. There it is. DUZA's going to lose their Witch Doctor, but that's about it for now. Spectre Illusion's doing a little bit more damage. Here comes the Ice Blast. Don't think that's going to be lethal on anyone right now, and DUZA, that was some pretty sneaky positioning from them, and everyone just lined up right into the Invoker's sights, and that's going to be a clean victory for DUZA in more ways than one. They take a team fight win, then they take Roshan.
Yeah, the big factor there is Bignum was able to initiate on the Earthshaker, so for once in the entire game, Slash Strike not able to get off a good Echo Slam. And Malum was able to take down the Witch Doctor as he was channeling that Death Ward, so it didn't do too much work, as you mentioned, was bouncing towards the Spectre. But he takes him down pretty quickly, but to no avail. Malum and the Wing Zero having to back off to the south there as they watch their Earthshaker die and Roshan be taken by DUZA. So yeah, definitely, as you mentioned, some good positioning and savvy awareness from DUZA there.
So Spectre has no Haunt, however, because Earthshaker was initiated upon, he still has an Echo Slam. So DUZA, they of course know this. They should be very careful with how they approach this push on the top, on the high ground. Have Necro Books, they have some pretty decently leveled Forge Spirits. As to whether or not they're going to fully commit to this, that's a different question entirely, but I mean, they have the Aegis, they have the Death Ward back up, they have all the ultimates that matter. In fact, they have all their ultimates. They should be looking for it, unless Captain Love gets picked off right now. Wing Zero is going to snag him. Quick Scythe, not going to be there. Captain Love in a lot of trouble, will be almost 100-0, and he will fall down. Sonic is going to charge forward with BKB, now up looking for anyone he can find. Slash Strike stuck in the corner, Bignum sticking on to him very closely, but he's not really doing that much damage. Here comes the Ice Blast, which will connect onto 3 heroes. Limbo wants to use his reincarnation right now, but he is completely without backup right now, and he's going to hit with a concussive. He will lose his ultimate right now. Slash Strike trying to close in. Here comes Spectre teleporting right back in, but Limbo is already gone. And it looks like DUZA, they're just going to lose their Witch Doctor, not gain anything in response. But that's the initiation that House of Gamers needed. Of course, it's a very small scale initiation, but they get away with it. They don't get punished.
Yeah, they don't lose anything for that one. They get a nice bounty of 2k XP spread over 4 members, of course. The AA is going to be taken down top here by Lolik. Haunt in, though, from Malum. He's going to look to find a recurrent kill. Instant Ghost Walk. Well played by Lolik there. No detection up on Malum. And they will have the Haunt now. Down for 120 seconds. They still have the Aegis available on the Necro. Perhaps they look to regroup, heal up, and go in for a high ground push.
They certainly might want to go for that one, though. They have to play around the Haunt. Haunt is going to be down for a little while, but I don't think DUZA can heal themselves, then come back in, and then start pressuring the base all in time before Haunt comes back up. So as far as getting that done, not really sure if that's a possibility. It's going to be House of Gamers to be on the aggressive up towards the top. With Wing Zero already in the skies, has a gem. He's going to find, once again, Captain Love, and he's not going to jump in. That is a rather restrained play from Wing Zero. I guess it's right next to a tier 2 tower, so it's reasonable to not go in, but he could have gotten that one pretty easily, and now it's going to be him to get initiated upon by Lolik. He's not microing exactly the best. In fact, he is going to let Wing Zero get up to the high ground. Here comes Slash Strike with a one-man Echo Slam, doing a lot of damage to Lolik with a right-click. Mikelorus helping that out in quite a big way. Blast is going to come in. Here comes the Death Ward. Going to do a little bit of damage to Slash Strike, but I think his TP is going to be clean, and Wing Zero is also trying to make it out. He has a Blink Dagger soon, plus a TP scroll. DUZA, they're going to send everything they got up towards the high ground, but Wing Zero is cleaning away.
Yep, nice play by both the Batrider as well as the Earthshaker. A little bit, yeah, poor. I mean, he didn't have anything invoked but the Forge Spirits and Ghost Walk at the time for Lolik, so unable to bring him down on the low ground. Gets off the BKB and the Firefly and gets away. And that's a big death to feed over. The Invoker was sitting on about 24 to 2,500 gold at the time. Loses quite a big chunk of that. Has picked up his Scythe, but could have made his way towards the next item of his choice. So unfortunate for him. And it looks like Force Staff going to come out fairly soon for CY as they engage mid. And they'll pick off the Reincarnation. There is backup ready here. Lasso's going to go out onto Limbo, though. They will bring him down very quickly before anyone else is able to bring support. And Big Dumb going to have to turn and run as well as Sonic.
So while all this is happening, Malum is just farming up in the background. Now is going to head on towards his heart. So that means that Spectre is almost going to hit full Spectre mode, and DUZA right now, they've been playing this game more or less how they should against Spectre, you know, never-ending aggression, trying to go for these kills, but one too many slip-ups, and just like that, I think most of the lead that DUZA had is slowly starting to dry up. Still, they have the net worth lead and the experience lead. It just doesn't feel like that because they're up against the Spectre, and man, it's hard to actually get a beat on Spectre when your Necrophos just isn't tanky enough to survive it, so it's slowly looking worse and worse for DUZA. They have to make something happen, but I mean, what have they actually gotten accomplished within the past couple minutes? Not much. Malum's going to get jumped by the Invoker, but at this point, he's tanky enough to shrug that one off. Sunstrike isn't going to be lethal either, so it's not looking that great for DUZA. Whereas for House of Gamers, they don't really have to do anything right now. They just have to make sure to not lose Spectre and just get her more and more farm. Maybe get Slash Strike, something like a Daedalus for funsies, or really anything, because he could really use anything right now. They're fine if they just sit back and wait, House of Gamers.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like to an extent, it feels like DUZA has missed their timing window. Sonic hasn't made too much item progression. He's now picked up the BKB finally, but that's already down to 7 seconds. Doesn't really have much else coming his way. He does have an ultimate orb, so perhaps another Hex for the team coming very soon. He actually picks up a Linken's for the Lasso here, so I guess it will allow him to stay in these team fights. He has been dropping fairly early. That has really mitigated the ability for them to survive as a team without the Necrophos' presence there. And he hasn't been able to get off any really meaningful Reaper sites thus far. I don't think we've seen anyone have the extra death timer so far in this game. So that'll be nice for him to actually survive a couple of these engagements. But it is a very defensive build in the BKB Linken's coming out from Sonic.
It's a build that he kind of has to go for, but I fear that it's just not going to be enough anyway. Because most of the time, Necrophos, when he has been going down, he's been hit with an Echo Slam and then just completely 100-0'd by the Shaker. And your Linken Sphere really isn't going to block an Enchant Totem with an Assault Cuirass hit. You need health, raw health, which I suppose Linken Sphere $15 attributes kind of gives you, but not really what you get it for. And then you have Ancient Apparition, Ice Blast, doesn't care if you have Linken Sphere. The Mystic Flare doesn't care if you have Linken Sphere. It's going to help, but I don't really think it's going to be the item that he really wants. Right now, he just needs like a heart or something like that. Anything that gives him a huge amount of plus health is going to mean the world for Sonic.
Yeah, full Diffusal up for Malum as well. He's not too far away from the heart. He needs about 600 gold for that Reaver. And then the recipe was sitting on the casual VIP booster already. So Malum looking very scary despite not having the overall net worth lead. Lolik just not as influential as a Spectre is at this point. Level 21 Spectre, level 22 Invoker. Doesn't really have much aside from the Hex to be scared of. And Malum is really hitting his stride 44 minutes in, and definitely is something for DUZA to be worried about here. You can see them already mentally backing off here from the bottom lane, and their aggression really has been stifled at this point.
Well, Malum is going to prompt a couple heroes from DUZA to make an aggressive play down towards bottom. However, Wing Zero and a Moment both here to back up. In fact, the rest of the House of Gamers not too far away either. They're actually going to be looking for initiation. They're going to use Bignum. I don't think that's the correct target, but they're going to try to go for it anyway. Bring him right back into a Mystic Flare Ice Blast. They're going to kill off Limbo in the process. BKB Pipe goes off. His Moment does take a fall. BKBs are all up onto everyone else. Malum left behind by the rest of his team as he tries to go for Captain Love, and Scythe does go out, killing off the Batrider. That's 3 kills for DUZA. House of Gamers, that is awfully, awfully bold of them to try to initiate on a centaur like that when, well, I guess there weren't many better targets, but he went really deep to try to go for that hero, and that was not the hero that you want to go deep for.
Yeah, and his Firefly expired just before he blinked in as well, so he didn't have the pathing. He did have the Force Staff regardless to get him through the trees, but as you mentioned, just not the most ideal target. That's something we certainly mentioned in the draft as well. Meanwhile, Lawler going to be picked off mid lane by Slash Strike. Not sure exactly what he was doing there without the rest of his lineup. Regardless, the Bat Rider is down for 65 seconds with no buyback. Buyback is available on both A Moment and Malum here, so not sure if they are willing enough to go a high ground without their Invoker, but a little bit of a misstep from Lawler. Slash Strike will be able to blink to the north and extricate himself from any danger in the mid under the cover of his BKB. And wow, DUZA finally finding a really good engagement, and they're not able to do anything objective-wise off of it.
Roshan isn't even going to be up. They don't have to worry about a Bat Rider for a pretty long time, and they do know about that. So maybe they're going to get something, but I mean, Invoker isn't up either. If the Invoker was still alive, then DUZA would be knocking on the front door of House of Gamers on the bottom lane right now, but unfortunately that just definitely isn't the case right now. So they have pretty much no other option but to just sit and wait and chill. I mean, they took the last fight pretty decently, but Necrophos actually going to snipe the Skywrath Mage? Okay, Scythe being used. That's 2 kills with the Scythe now that we've seen in this game. Not really the kill that I expected, but you know what? That's going to mean that DUZA have much easier time going for Roshan moving forward, and they are just camping Roshan right now. They're going to know exactly when it respawns.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't all leave at this point because it's only about 20 seconds away. And the Boots of Travel are picked up now from Wing Zero, but the bot wave is pushed in fairly heavily, so not sure that they will be able to contest Roche with the Skywrath down without the possibility to buy back, of course, because of that Aghanim's upgrade for Sonic. But he's taking tons of damage just from these Manta Illusions. Radiance Burn and Desolate doing a lot of work towards him, but he has got 3,400 gold in his pocket, so he will be able to make some item progression fairly soon, and they will find the Roshan now. Alacrity going to be popped onto Limbo, and they will be able to bring him down fairly quickly with the minus armor from the Forge Spirits.
Yes. Man, that is some insane attack speed from Limbo. He's got 2 Hyperstones working for him, not to mention that additional attack speed from Alacrity. They're going to bring down Roshan slowly but steadily. Meantime, House of Gamers, they're going to take a tier 1 tower in the middle lane. I don't think DUZA really going to care about that very much, as Wraith King dropping pretty low, but that's just because of the chilling effect. Once his Vamp Aura gets turned on again, he's going to get right back up to full, and House of Gamers, they're way too far away to contest this. They're going to concede Roshan to DUZA. I think they definitely could have made an effort to stop this, or at least, you know, fight around Roshan, but what they get in response, a tier 1, that's not really good enough. They're now going to be on the purely defensive, and this is actually a pretty nice opening for DUZA to try to crack high ground with the Aegis and with the Cheese.
Yeah, they have the Cheese up on Bignum. He's picked up a Shiva's Guard as well, so that's a nice little bit of control, as well as the Armor Aura up against the AC. It looks like the AC of their own will be built into by Limbo as well, so that'll be a very nice pickup for DUZA, and Slash Strike won't be able to hit quite as hard as he has been, dropping his targets very low very quickly. He's picked up an ultimate orb of his own, however, and maybe building into a sheep stick here, which will be a very nice pickup to counter up the sheep stick from the Invoker for DUZA.
Well, top lane, they're going to use Sonic to try to bait someone from House of Gamers in right now, but House of Gamers, they're not going to bite. Again, they just want more farm on the Spectre. As it stands, she is very close to being able to pick up her Heart of Tarrasque, but very close doesn't actually mean that you have it, so that's not really going to help her anytime soon. DUZA, are they really going to go for a top lane push? I mean, they have to worry about all the split pushing because they're up against the Spectre. That's just going to be inevitable. But they should be looking for some sort of high ground push with the Aegis and Cheese. I honestly don't think it gets much better for DUZA. It does get better for House of Gamers, though, as Spectre is still, you know, let's say a Butterfly away and a Heart of Tarrasque away from being just an absolute juggernaut if she wants to go for that build, or really whatever she wants to go for is going to be reasonable for her. DUZA, it is going to be a top lane push. That's, I guess, fair. Bottom lane, tier 3 is not really that damaged, so. might as well go for some sort of push. And with Alacrity on the Necro units, they're just going to lay the siege.
Yeah, they won't have to commit too much. Just Sonic there as a battering ram. He's got a BKB Lincolns as well as the Aegis, so he won't be too worried about catching much. Also, the Wraith King joining him with the Reincarnation, and they'll take a tier 3 completely unabated here. But Wing Zero is waiting in the wings, no pun intended, for a lasso target. Jump forward from Limbo, however, is onto Malum. He's going to be dropped really quick. His Reincarnation will pop. They'll lasso back the Invoker. The Death Ward is doing a lot of work here. The Scythe will go on onto Malum. He'll be down without the possibility to buy back. Slash Strike next to fall to the Deafening Blast. DUZA loses nothing. Instant buyback from Slash Strike. He still has the Echo Slam online here. We'll see if DUZA groups up for a nice one, but they will look to disengage after taking down that Rax for free. No Reincarnation up on Limbo, but it will be up in 35 seconds, so they can look to leave Sonic on the high ground with this Aegis in tow and look to do some chip damage. Bignum still sitting on the cheese as well.
Man, that was chaotic initiation to say the least, but Limbo going straight for the Spectre there. It's obviously wasn't a fight that he was going to win, but he was just wasting her time, and sometimes that's just good enough because Spectre decided to turn around and fight the Wraith King. Wasn't the correct decision. She took down the Reincarnation, but 9 seconds, and that is not going to mean anything. Range Rax is going to be sieged by Lolic and Sonic. Here comes the Echo Slam onto Lolic. He's going to get just completely destroyed by Slash Strike. Now going towards Sonic. Will burn the Aegis. Limbo has Reincarnation back up as they get lasso onto Bignum. There goes Reincarnation. Bignum looking to initiate onto Slash Strike. Is there a Scythe? Not yet for another 5 seconds, but they'll kill off Slash Strike regardless. He already uses buyback. Now Wing Zero might be the one to take the Scythe. Sonic needs one more second. He's going to get it. There it is. Wing Zero's dead. And they take down the Range Rax's mid, looking for the melee as well, and with only Ancient Apparition and Skywrath to defend, I think DUZA might have just won this game. I mean, Limbo is still doing a truckload of damage. He's a Glass Cannon Wraith King, but give him 30 seconds and he'll be back up with a double life. I don't think there's anything that CY can do about this. I don't think there's anything that a Moment can do about this, especially when they get initiated upon by Bignum. Death Ward going to be channeled. Won't do that much damage, but it's going to buy a lot of space for Limbo and Sonic to finish the deal. Yeah, this is going to be Megas flooding the base of House of Gamers. DUZA won.
Yeah, this is pretty much GG at this point. The Scythe, as we see, wasn't too effective early on, but doing a lot of work late game, bringing down that Spectre and the Batrider without buyback, and that's already Megas for DUZA, so good patience from them, finally finding the engagement they wanted. Mystic Flare goes on with the Sonic here, jump forward, Hoof Stomp though, gonna finish off a Moment. Spectral Dagger a little too late, Cask gonna bounce through in the Fountain, and HOG just not quite giving up this one yet, but their tier 4s will drop. AC picked up by Limbo as well, BKB up onto Captain Love, and they'll pop the pipe and look to sound this one out. Ice Blast will land on quite a few. Haunt comes out as well, but CY just going to absolutely melt to the Wraith King. And well played from DUZA. Malum going to pop his BKB and look to bring down the Witch Doctor, but he will have to be zoned back in the base. And GG finally called 53 minutes in. DUZA takes game 1.
Alright, so just waiting for the Ancient to explode. It was a very, very slow game. Unfortunately, I think it was, man, so close for sure. House of Gamers, maybe they could have done with a little bit more of a damage-heavy lineup. Their initiation was there sometimes, but just wasn't good enough, and the amount of spread out threats from DUZA, I think, ultimately carried them to a victory. It took a hell of a long time, 53 minutes into this game, but they're going to claim game 1. This is a best of 3, guys, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2. I'm Mikelorus, being joined by MRP Dota. You can follow us both at Mikelorus, at MRP_Dota, and we'll be right back.
GG, guys.